That's just one of the hits that made Lionel Richie a true legend in the music world. This morning, he's looking back at a life in song with Kela Fasane.
Are they going to let me in? Are you kidding?
Many people know him as the legendary singer who created some of the most loved songs of all time. For decades, he won millions of fans with his unforgettable voice, timeless music, and incredible career. His success made him one of the biggest stars in the music world. But now, things do not seem to be going as smoothly as before. So, what has really happened to Lionel Richie? What challenges is he facing today?
Fans hoping to see Lionel Richie this weekend in Columbus will have to wait a little bit longer.
The announcement comes after the singer had to cut his show in Minnesota short last night. His camp has not revealed a diagnosis, but he was reportedly taken to the hospital as a precaution.
And why are so many fans becoming concerned about him? Lionel Richie, concert incident. On the night of June 24, 2026, 77-year-old Lionel Richie, the Grammy-winning former lead singer of the Commodores and current American Idol judge, suddenly stopped his concert after telling the audience he was feeling dizzy. A few minutes later, he walked off the stage and did not return. It was the opening night of the third Sing a Song All Night Long tour, a 26-date tour across North America with Earth, Wind, and Fire. The first concert took place at Grand Casino Arena in St. Paul, Minnesota. The tour was scheduled to continue until the middle of August 2026, ending in Austin, Texas. Only a few hours before the show, Richie had been posting online about rehearsals, sound check, and getting ready for the concert. He even told fans in St. Paul that they would be the first audience of the tour. Nothing suggested that anything was wrong. Richie performed for about 55 minutes before things suddenly changed. During the ninth song of the night, his classic 1986 hit, Dancing on the Ceiling, he sat down on a platform on stage and told the crowd he was feeling dizzy. Even then, he tried to keep everyone calm by making a joke. He told the audience, "When you're feeling dizzy, sit your $1 down." He also joked that it was the first time in the history of Dancing on the Ceiling that he had performed the song while sitting down. Then he added, "That's a bad sign," a comment that later seemed much more serious than it first sounded. After that, Richie moved to the piano and performed Three Times a Lady while remaining seated. The emotional performance became even more touching as fans realized he was trying to continue despite clearly not feeling well. When the song ended, Richie announced an unexpected intermission. He simply said, "Intermission, so I don't fall over," before leaving the stage. The band continued playing for about 15 minutes while the audience waited, unsure whether Richie would return or if something more serious had happened. Eventually, the musicians also left the stage. About 40 minutes after the intermission began, close to 11 p.m., the band's saxophone player, Dino Soldo, came to the microphone and delivered the disappointing news. He told the audience that Lionel Richie was not feeling well and would not be able to continue the concert. He added that more information would be shared later. Soon afterward, the venue released a short statement from Richie's team that said nearly the same thing. Lionel was not feeling well, and the show could not continue. After Richie left the arena, several news outlets reported that paramedics treated him backstage before taking him by ambulance to a nearby hospital as a precaution. TMZ was the first to report the story, saying it had spoken with sources close to Richie. Although the hospital visit was reported by several outlets, it is important to understand exactly what has been confirmed. The reports described the trip as a precaution. As of June 25, 2026, no hospital had been identified, no doctor had spoken publicly, and Richie's management had not officially confirmed the hospital visit. However, anyone claiming to know exactly what happened inside the ambulance or what caused Richie's sudden illness is going beyond the facts that have been confirmed. So, what really happened to Lionel Richie on stage? What could have caused it? Let's find out. The truth behind Richie's concert exit. John Paris, the drummer for Earth, Wind, and Fire, spoke with the Minnesota Star-Tribune after the concert. He said Lionel Richie had not shown any signs of being sick before going on stage. In his opinion, Richie simply seemed a little dehydrated. That is where the dehydration story came from. It was one bandmate sharing what he believed happened. It was not an official medical diagnosis. No doctor has confirmed it, and Richie or his team has not released a medical statement saying dehydration was the cause. It may turn out to be true, or it may only be part of the story. For now, it should be treated as one person's observation, not a confirmed fact. The same report also mentioned an important detail. Richie spent about 55 minutes performing while wearing a leather jacket and leather pants under hot stage lights. He was clearly sweating throughout the show. At 77 years old, performing with so much energy and heavy clothing under bright lights could easily put a lot of strain on the body. You do not need medical training to understand that those conditions could leave someone exhausted or dehydrated. At the time of the reports the following day, there was still no official diagnosis. There was also no confirmation that Richie had been released from the hospital, and he had not made a public statement himself. His next scheduled concert in Chicago was still listed, but keeping a show on the schedule does not guarantee that it will happen. Reporters contacted his representatives, but they did not respond right away. That is not unusual. It simply suggests that his team wanted to protect his privacy while they learned more about his condition. There is another important point to remember when reading stories online. Lionel Richie has been the target of several false death rumors over the years. Earlier in 2026, another fake report about his death spread online before it was proven to be false. Similar rumors have appeared before because they attract attention and upset fans. That is why it is always wise to be careful before believing shocking claims about famous older celebrities. However, this incident was completely different from those false rumors. It was reported by trusted news organizations that follow professional standards. People inside the arena recorded videos and shared them as the events happened. Richie's own team announced inside the venue that he would not continue the show. There were also named witnesses, including fellow musicians who spoke openly to the press. That is very different from a fake story, which usually spreads through unverified screenshots and anonymous social media posts. This was a real event witnessed by many people. So, if you come across claims online saying Richie was in critical condition, remember that those reports do not match the reliable information that has been released. Trusted news reports only said that he was taken to the hospital as a precaution. It is important not to let dramatic rumors replace the facts. This incident also happened only 5 days after another music legend, Rod Stewart, experienced a health scare during a concert in Utah. The 81-year-old singer had to pause his performance to receive oxygen after telling the audience that he almost fainted on stage. Many people believe the high altitude of the venue may have contributed to the problem. Looking at both situations together reminds us of something bigger. These artists are in their late 70s and 80s, yet they are still performing energetic arena shows night after night in different cities. Their passion for entertaining has not faded, but even the strongest bodies naturally become less able to handle such demanding performances with age. There is something both inspiring and emotional about watching legendary performers continue doing what they love despite the physical challenges that come with growing older. For Lionel Richie, who was born in Tuskegee, Alabama, rose to fame with the Commodores, became one of Motown's biggest solo stars, recorded Endless Love with Diana Ross, co-wrote We Are the World with Michael Jackson, created unforgettable hits like Hello and All Night Long, and has served as a judge on American Idol since 2018, this was never just another concert, although it was another chance to do what he has done for decades. Has he suffered any major illness in the past? How did he survive it? Let's find out. Richie's throat struggles. Richie went through several years of painful throat problems that seriously threatened his future as a singer. Over a period of 4 years, he had to undergo 4 different throat surgeries as doctors tried to solve the problem. Each operation was meant to improve his condition, but the problems kept returning. As time passed, he became more worried that he might never fully recover. Since his voice was the most important part of his career, the ongoing health issues caused him a great deal of stress and uncertainty. After years of treatment, the situation became even more frightening. Some of the doctors treating Richie warned him that he could lose his singing voice completely if the problem continued. For someone whose life and career depended on performing, this was devastating news. Singing had made him one of the world's biggest music stars, and the thought of never being able to perform again was heartbreaking. He feared that everything he had worked for over many years could come to an end because of his throat condition. Despite the surgeries and medical treatments, Richie still did not have a lasting solution. The operations had not completely fixed the problem, and he continued searching for answers. Feeling frustrated and worried, he decided to try a different approach. Instead of relying only on traditional medical treatment, he visited a holistic doctor. Holistic medicine often considers a person's overall health and lifestyle rather than focusing solely on a single symptom or illness. The holistic doctor carefully examined Richie's situation and came to a very different conclusion. Rather than believing that there was something seriously wrong with his throat itself, the doctor suggested that the real cause of his problems was acid reflux. This condition happens when stomach acid flows back up into the food pipe and sometimes reaches the throat. Over time, the acid can irritate and damage the throat and vocal cords, leading to pain, hoarseness, and difficulty singing. According to the holistic doctor, Richie's eating habits were making the problem worse. The doctor believed that Richie was eating certain foods before going to bed, and this allowed stomach acid to move upward while he was lying down. Night after night, the acid irritated his throat, preventing it from healing properly. Instead of needing more surgery, the doctor believed that changing his diet and avoiding certain foods before bedtime could greatly reduce the acid reflux and allow his throat to recover. This new explanation gave Richie hope after years of fear and frustration. Rather than facing the possibility of losing his voice forever, he now had a different path to try. By making changes to his eating habits and following the doctor's advice, he worked to protect his throat and improve his health. However, his experience showed that sometimes the underlying cause of a health problem may not be immediately obvious, and looking at lifestyle habits can sometimes provide answers that medical procedures alone do not. But how was his childhood? Was he born into a rich family? Let's find out. Lionel Richie's early life. Lionel Brockman. Richie Jr. was born on June 20, 1949, in Tuskegee, Alabama. His father, Lionel Brockman Richie Sr., worked as a systems analyst for the U.S. Army, while his mother, Alberta R. Foster, was a teacher and later became a school principal. His grandmother, Adelaide Mary Brown, was a talented pianist who loved playing classical music. In 2011, Lionel appeared on the television show Who Do You Think You Are?, where researchers explored his family history. They discovered that his mother's grandfather, J. Lewis Brown, was most likely the biological son of federal judge and slave owner Morgan Wells Brown. They also found that J. Lewis Brown became the national leader of one of the earliest Black American fraternal organizations. Richie spent his childhood on the campus of Tuskegee Institute, where his family lived in a house that had been given to his grandparents by educator Booker T. Washington. He later graduated from Joliet Township High School East Campus in Joliet, Illinois. An excellent tennis player in high school, Richie earned a tennis scholarship to attend Tuskegee Institute. While there, he performed with the school's marching band, the Marching Crimson Pipers. He graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in economics and also studied accounting as a minor. At one point, Richie thought about becoming a priest in the Episcopal Church, where he had been baptized. However, he later decided that being a priest was not the right path for him and chose to focus on music instead, even though he could not read or write musical notation at the time. Richie is also a member of Kappa Kappa Psi, a national honor fraternity for band members, and is an active life member of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. So, when did he start his musical journey? And how did he start? Let's take a closer look. Richie's early music career. While studying at Tuskegee, Lionel Richie formed several R&B groups in the mid-1960s. In 1968, he joined the Commodores as a singer and saxophone player. That same year, the group signed a recording deal with Atlantic Records and released one record before moving to Motown Records. At first, They performed as an opening act for the Jackson 5. Before long, the Commodores became one of the most popular soul groups of the time. Their early albums were filled with upbeat, funky songs that made people want to dance, including hits like Machine Gun and Brick House. As time went on, Richie began writing and singing more romantic, slower songs. Some of the group's biggest ballads included Easy, 3 Times a Lady, Still, and the emotional breakup song Sail On. In 1974, Richie enjoyed his first major success as a songwriter with Happy People, which he co-wrote with Jeffrey Bowen and Donald Baldwin. The song was first planned for the Commodores, but it was instead recorded by The Temptations. It became the #1 R&B hit for the group. By the late 1970s, other artists were asking Richie to write songs for them. One of his biggest songwriting successes came with Lady, which he wrote for Kenny Rogers. The song reached #1 in 1980. Richie also produced Rogers' 1981 album Share Your Love, and the two remained close friends for many years. Later, Latin jazz musician La Palabra also found international success with his version of Lady, which became popular in Latin dance clubs. In 1981, Richie teamed up with Diana Ross to record the theme song for the movie Endless Love. The duet became a huge international hit, reaching #1 in the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Brazil, and several other countries. It also became one of Motown's biggest-selling songs. Richie launched his solo career in 1982 with his first album, Lionel Richie. The album included 3 hit singles. Truly became a #1 hit in the United States and established him as one of the most successful ballad singers of the 1980s. The songs You Are and My Love also became top 5 hits. The album reached #3 on the charts and sold more than 4 million copies. His second solo album, Can't Slow Down, was released in 1983 and became an even bigger success, selling more than twice as many copies as his first album. The album featured the #1 hit All Night Long, an energetic dance song with Caribbean influences. The colorful music video, produced by former Monkees member Michael Nesmith, helped make the song even more popular. In 1984, Richie performed All Night Long during the closing ceremony of the Summer Olympic Games in Los Angeles. More hit songs followed. The biggest was the romantic ballad Hello, released in 1984. The song showed how much Richie's music had changed from his early R&B style. That same year, he also scored top 10 hits with Stuck on You, Running with the Night, and Penny Lover. He also wrote and produced Missing You for Diana Ross, which became another successful hit. In 1985, Richie wrote and performed Say You, Say Me for the movie White Nights. The song won the Academy Award for Best Original Song and reached #1 on the U.S. music charts, where it stayed for 4 weeks. It became the second biggest song of 1986 on Billboard's year-end Hot 100 chart, finishing behind the charity single That's What Friends Are For. That same year, Richie joined Michael Jackson to write We Are the World for the charity group USA for Africa. The song became another worldwide #1 hit. In 1986, Richie released Dancing on the Ceiling, his last album to achieve huge worldwide success. It produced several hit songs, including Say You, Say Me, Dancing on the Ceiling, Love Will Conquer All, Ballerina Girl, and Selah. After releasing his first greatest hits album, Back to Front, in 1992, he returned to recording and performing. Over the following years, Richie slowed down his schedule, recording fewer albums and giving fewer live performances. In 1996, he returned with Louder Than Words. Instead of following the latest music trends, he stayed true to his own style by continuing to make smooth, soulful music, which later became known as contemporary R&B. Although albums such as Louder Than Words and Time did not match the huge success of his earlier work, Richie continued recording music. What other aspect of life did he venture into? Was he able to blend it with music? Let's take a closer look. Richie's later career. In 2006, Lionel Richie was the main performer at a 4th of July tribute concert at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, where he performed alongside Fantasia Barrino. On May 7, 2006, he also performed on the main Acura stage at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. taking the place of Fats Domino, who was unable to appear because he was ill. On September 12, 2006, Richie released his 8th studio album, Coming Home. The album's first single, I Call It Love, came out in July 2006 and became his biggest hit in the United States in 10 years. The album was a success, reaching number 6 on the Billboard 200 chart. On May 2, 2008, Richie received the George and Ira Gershwin Lifetime Achievement Award at UCLA's Spring Sing. While accepting the award, he joked, "Forget about surviving over 30 years in the music business. Lionel Richie survived 27 years of Nicole Richie." In May 2009, Richie said he hoped to reunite the Commodores in the near future. That same year, he released the album Just Go. On July 7, 2009, he performed the song Jesus Is Love at Michael Jackson's memorial service. In 2011, Richie returned to Australia, where he toured Australia and New Zealand with guest singer Guy Sebastian during March and April. The two also recorded a new version of Richie's 1983 hit, All Night Long, to raise money for people affected by the Australian floods and the New Zealand earthquake. On March 26, 2012, Richie released his 10th studio album, Tuskegee. The album featured 13 of his greatest hits re-recorded as duets with famous country music stars. It became his first #1 album on the Billboard 200 chart since Dancing on the Ceiling and earned platinum certification within 6 weeks. On June 28, 2015, Richie performed for a crowd of about 100,000 to 120,000 people at the Glastonbury Festival in England. The BBC called his performance triumphant. After the concert, a reissued collection of his greatest hits, including songs from both his solo career and the Commodores, returned to the top of the UK albums chart. In September 2017, ABC announced that Richie would become a judge on the revived American Idol. He has remained a judge on the show for 7 seasons, including the 2024 season. In May 2017, Berklee College of Music honored Richie during its graduation concert. Students performed a medley of his greatest songs, and he was awarded an honorary doctorate of music. On December 3, 2017, he also received the Kennedy Center honors. Later that year, in October, it was announced that Richie had secured the rights to produce a movie about the life of Curtis Mayfield. On March 25, 2019, Richie announced his 33-date Hello Tour across North America. The tour began in May at Kabu Festival in Arlington and continued through August. In May 2023, Richie performed as one of the main acts at the coronation concert at Windsor Castle, celebrating the coronation of King Charles III and Queen Camilla. He also became the first global ambassador and the first chairman of the Global Ambassador Group for the Prince's Trust. In September 2025, Richie released his memoir, Truly, which reached number 3 on the New York Times bestseller list for hardcover nonfiction. Richie is also very popular across many Arab countries. He has performed in Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Libya. In 2006, ABC News reporter John Berman said that many Iraqi fans became emotional just hearing Richie's name, and some could sing his songs from memory. Richie later said he had been told that Iraqi civilians were listening to All Night Long on the night U.S. tanks entered Baghdad. Although he opposed the war, he said he hoped to perform in Baghdad one day. How was his private life? Did he raise a family? Let's find out. Richie's personal life. On October 18, 1975, Lionel Richie married his college sweetheart, Brenda Harvey. The two had known each other for years before deciding to spend their lives together. During the early years of their marriage, they built a family and supported each other as Richie's music career became more successful. As his fame grew around the world, Brenda remained an important part of his personal life, standing by him through many changes and challenges. In 1983, Lionel and Brenda welcomed a young girl named Nicole Richie into their home. Nicole was only 2 years old at the time. She was the daughter of one of the musicians in Richie's band and the niece of Sheila E., the famous drummer and singer. Although Lionel and Brenda did not immediately complete the legal adoption, they treated Nicole as their own daughter from the beginning. They loved and cared for her, giving her a stable home, and raising her as part of their family. When Nicole turned 9 years old, the couple officially adopted her, making her a legal member of the Richie family. Several years later, their marriage faced serious problems. In June 1988, Brenda Harvey was arrested after an incident at an apartment in Beverly Hills belonging to Diane Alexander. Reports said that Brenda found Lionel there, leading to a confrontation. After the incident, she was arrested and faced several charges, including causing injury to a spouse, resisting arrest, trespassing, vandalism, battery, and disturbing the peace. The event received a great deal of media attention and marked a difficult period in Richie's personal life. After his first marriage ended, Lionel Richie married Diane Alexander on December 21, 1995. Together, they had 2 children. Their son, Miles Richie, later became a model and television personality. Their daughter, Sophia Richie, became a successful model, fashion designer, and social media personality. Although Lionel and Diane built a family together, their marriage eventually came to an end in 2004. Lionel's family continued to grow over the years. In 2008, he became a grandfather for the first time when Nicole Richie and her husband, Joel Madden, welcomed a baby girl into the world. Joel is best known as the lead singer of the rock band Good Charlotte. A year later, in 2009, Lionel became a grandfather again when the couple welcomed their second child. Richie has also spent time supporting important charitable causes. He helped raise more than $3.1 million for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, which funds research to improve the prevention, treatment, and understanding of breast cancer. During one fundraising event, Richie shared a personal story with the audience. He explained that his grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was in her 80s. Thankfully, she survived the disease and went on to live until she was 103 years old. Richie said her strength, courage, and long life inspired him throughout the years. What recognition and honor did he get in his career? Did he deserve them? Let's find out. Lionel Richie Awards. Lionel Richie has received many of the biggest awards in the music industry during his long and successful career. His talent as a singer, songwriter, and producer has earned him worldwide recognition and made him one of the most celebrated artists of his generation. Richie has won 4 Grammy Awards, one of the highest honors in music. In 1982, he won the Best Male Pop Vocal Performance Award for his hit song, Truly, which became one of his first major solo successes. 2 years later, in 1984, he had an even more remarkable year. His album, Can't Slow Down, won the Album of the Year Grammy after becoming one of the best-selling and most popular albums of the decade. That same year, Richie was also honored with the Producer of the Year, non-classical award, recognizing his outstanding work behind the scenes in creating successful music. In 1985, Richie received another Grammy for Song of the Year for We Are the World. He co-wrote the famous charity song with Michael Jackson. The song brought together many of the world's biggest music stars to raise money for famine relief in Africa. It became one of the most successful charity singles ever recorded and remains an important part of music history. Richie also made history by becoming the first artist to receive a Diamond Album Award from the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA. A diamond certification is given to albums that sell at least 10 million copies in the United States, making it one of the highest achievements a recording artist can earn. His success was not limited to the music industry. Richie was also recognized in the film world through the Golden Globe Awards. In 1982, he received a nomination for Best Original Song for Endless Love, which was written for the film of the same name. A few years later, in 1986, he won the Golden Globe for Best Original Song for Say You, Say Me, which was featured in the movie White Nights. The success of Say You, Say Me did not stop there. The song also won the Academy Award for Best Original Song, one of the highest honors in the film industry. This achievement further proved Richie's ability to create unforgettable songs that connected with audiences around the world, whether they were heard on the radio or in the cinema. So, what do you think about Lionel Richie's current state of health? Do you think he should retire from the stage? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.